Hi guys, I hope you're doing well and thank you for joining this little tutorial about how I made the track ready to jack. That's out since today, Monday the 12th November on Tronic. Welcome to my studio, which isn't actually a real studio, it's rather my home. If you've been following me a bit on social media, you might have seen that I posted quite a few videos of my old studio in Barcelona. But I left that place 3 months ago when I decided to move back to Berlin. And I went back to minimalist equipment, which is this biodynamic DT990 headphone. DT770. I also have the 990. This one is great if you work in a loud environment. As you can see, it's closed. So you don't really hear anything from outside, you just hear your music. And I'm using the Akai MPK Mini, just 25 keys, 8 pads and 8 rotary encoders. That's all that you really need, in my opinion, if you work digitally, which I mostly do. You know, I did have a bit of analog hardware in my old studio, but I didn't really find myself using it very much. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to get tracks done efficiently, and for that, I feel that I'm just faster with digital stuff. So let's jump into this. Let's have a listen to the whole loop first.
Ready to check. Ready to check. Ready to check. Ready to check. Ready. Back.
So as you can see, really functional, quite big roomish. I was very happy to see Adam Beyer play it at Awakenings during ADE in front of I don't know how many people, but it did look pretty exciting. Let's have a look at the channels one after the other. So here's the bass group. Let's start with the kick. That's the Drummerson 909, and we have a lot of distortion behind it. Let's deactivate and reactivate the distortion. Quite a difference, right? Okay, let's start from left to right and turn the stuff back on. So Isotope Trash 2, I really like this one. It has a ton of amazing presets and it's quite easy to configure, and you get you can really completely destroy your sound with that, but also give it a subtle coloring. So I have 2 of these. And then a decapitator from Sound Toys. Guess many of you will know it. Quite brutal here. And to tame that brutality a bit, there is a LFO tool at the end, which just leaves a bit of the attack, of the filter curve intact. I hope this makes sense. So it's basically an ADSR on the filter. And the UAD little lapse, which is giving a lot of bass here. This kind of accentuates the low end, and it low cuts the very lowest part of the low end. So you kind of like accentuate this part from like 50 to 70 hertz. So pretty nice kick. Then we have the reverb of the kick in a separate channel. I like to use the Ableton convolution reverb. I think it sounds really good. And Ableton overdrive, Ableton sidechain compressor, Ableton filter, utility, and a low cut. I think a lot of people think that they need the fanciest plugins ever, but a lot of the time you can do just as well with the built-in stuff that your sequencer comes with, be it Ableton or Logic or whatever. And low tom, which gives a nice deep wobbling feel to it. You know, I feel this really drives it forward. And and on the group, okay, I deactivated most on the bass group. Doesn't really do much here. Okay, let's continue. And of course the sidechain kick. I always put like a ghost kick. So as you can see, it's deactivated. The audio is deactivated, the audio to master out, but I'm just using this. It just goes constant throughout the whole track to just give like a constant sidechain signal. So even when the kick is gone, from the ears, the sound is still active throughout all of the range. And let me turn off the phone. Let's go to the tops. So, pretty massive open 909. Again, the Drumazon. And have a look at this. This is a velocity randomization, which gives a slightly... See, now it's very extreme, way too much. But if you just put it like subtle, maybe like to 8 or 10 or something like that, then it just randomizes each single hit of the sound. So in this case, the open head, it just randomizes the volume a little bit, which creates the feeling of movement. And it's kind of like a little bit. What you're trying to do with that is you're getting a little bit of this analog variety into like a digital production. If you put a lot of like randomization on each sound, I try to put a little bit of randomization. You know, maybe not on the kick because you want that nice and stable, but pretty much any other sound. Especially on the drums, I put a little bit of randomization. Then we have the permutate to create width. You know, it's more mono. And now it's a little bit more stereo. I'm cutting quite a bit of the lows. No, to leave more room for all of the other sounds. Because when you listen to it solo, it might not sound like much, but if you have like 10 channels and all of them come with this like low end rubble, so it doesn't really belong to the sound, it can really make your mix a bit too muddy. So let's continue to the right. Again, velocity randomization, Drumazon, decapitator to warm it up a little bit, low cut, high cut, and again. Oh no, not again, this is for the first time. The Soundtoys Penman to create a movement inside the stereo field. I really hope that you're listening to this with headphones or in a good stereo sound system, because on the phone you will not be able to notice this. And yeah, some sidechain compression from the kick, some sidechain compression from the open head, and again the permutate to create more width. So, and the 16th closed head. Again, Drumazon. Let's open it actually so that you see it. Well, very classical 909. And what I like about this compared to when you're working with 909 samples, as you can see, you can really configure it very nicely. So you just have a little bit more flexibility if you work with this kind of drum synthesizer instead of a drum sampler. And we have the Decimort, which is a bit crusher. We have the Penman, again, to give a little bit of movement inside the stereo panorama. We have the soft tube saturation knob, so really nice freeware saturation plugin. Yeah, I really like this one. It really makes the sound like nice and fuzzy and warm and analogish feeling. A bit of sidechain from the kick. And the grain delay, which I really like as well. It completely transforms the sound, as you can see. You know, I mean, now it sounds much more like a classical 909 closed head. And now it really gives a completely different character to the sound. So this one is really nice to experiment with, to completely transform your sounds. And then we have a lot of low and high cut. Yeah, because all of the distortion really added a lot of richness and fullness to the sound, and with all of this cut, it would be way too overpowering. Let's continue. Okay, let's have a look at the top group. Just a lot of sidechain from the kick. And then what these auto filters are doing, yeah, let's have a look at this. Okay, here they're not really necessary, but okay, well, I think I changed the arrangement a little bit. So maybe I took the sounds out here so that you don't really hear what the auto filters would be doing. But basically, they would be filtering up and down the whole group at once, the whole tops group. Okay, let's continue with the percussions. So in this group, we have the clap, which might be the sample missing. Oh damn it, yeah, actually it seems like the sample is missing. I don't quite get this. It's a bit weird. Well, actually there is a clap in this position, and as you see it should be playing, but it isn't. I don't really get it. Anyways, imagine a clap here. And what we can hear is the snare drum roll. Really efficient to create that big break, peak time madness. It's for sure not the most original stylistic element in the world, but very efficient nevertheless, and I really like it. Yeah, since I heard it in like early Plastic Man tracks in the 90s, and of course tons and tons of producers have been using this again. So very efficient. Then we have a background percussion group with two sounds layered. You know, the one is on the lower, the more on the mid range, on the lower end, and the other one is more in the higher frequencies. Here you can hear it quite well in the beginning of the track. So it just creates some movement. You know, before we have the more obvious drums, you know, like the offbeat head and claps and stuff coming in. You have this here, which really fills up, yeah, the middle range, and which keeps it a little bit interesting before the more prominent sounds come in. So it's just going constantly throughout the whole range. And then there is quite a bit of, yeah, a lot of sidechain compression on it, and the auto filter with a little bit of a panning as well to keep it nice and moving. A lot of filtering, like a lot of low cut, a lot of high cut, and again the grain delay completely transforming the sound. And here's the lower channel, again a lot of cutting, grain delay, yeah, pretty much the same story, but cut very low. Yeah, because we still have the second one going on, the higher one. And then the lead, pretty efficient. I'm really happy with the sound. Let's have a look at it. Tons of effects. So again, we're starting with velocity randomization, and we have Omnisphere is creating the lead. Okay, now you can steer the preset and a lot of effects on it. It sounds really interesting already without all of the effects, but yeah, they don't hurt either. So again, distortion, and first the Isotope Trash 2, then the UAD Raw. It doesn't do much here. And Bit Crusher, filter. then again, a lot of cutting going on. Because the sound, it had very strong resonances, and yeah, it can really get pretty nasty. Can really fuck up your mix and your ears, especially when you listen to it on a big sound system. So some cutting here going on. And of course, sidechain compression. Also from the vocal group. Yeah, and some panning. So that's the lead. Let's keep moving. The vocal, yeah, it's a bit of a specialty for me. I really like to use my own voice. Sometimes quite natural, sometimes quite freaked up. I really like to do that because first it saves you a lot of time in searching for samples, which is what I did before when I was still a bit too shy to do this. And second, it just adds a lot of character when you use your own voice for your productions. So let's have a listen.
Ready to jack. 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 Ready to jack.
So
ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Okay, first it's pitched down by 2 semitones.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack. Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Yeah, I think now it sounds more like me already. But pitched down, I think it sounds a little bit cooler and more techno.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Okay. Hey, sorry for this little cut. Had a little technical problem and to restart the recording, but we're back. So I pitched down the vocal by 2 semitones. Let's look into the effects on it.
Ready to jack.
Ready to jack. Auto filter, yeah, which just opens the cutoff, obviously.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
And we have Ableton's overdrive.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
We have a bit crusher with very low subtle setting.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Again, the grain delay, quite subtle here. You don't hear it so much, but you hear the vocoders quite a bit.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Yeah, as you can see, it's just a noise. So the vocoder in this setting, it just adds a noise to the source signal, and I really like it. Makes the voice sound like a little bit more like robotic, less human. Yeah, more processed, more interesting.
Ready to jack.
And a little bit of echo of delay on the channel.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Some low cut, some high cut. Nothing too fancy. And and quite a bit of send reverb and send delay here
ready
going on.
Jack. Ready to jack.
Which is
ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Which is getting accentuated towards the end of the break. Let's have a listen again to the whole.
Ready to jack. Ready to jack. Ready to jack. Ready to jack. Ready to jack.
Sorry, to the beginning of the break it gets accentuated. So I quite like to have these the send automations there because it kind of creates a bridge between the groove part and the break part, so that even if it's a pretty strict cut at this point of the track, that it kind of blends a bit better together without having to use any additional sounds like a noise or a whoosh or something. So here we have
ready to jack. Ready to jack.
So as you see, there's 2 vocals going on. One time this whole phrase ready to jack, and then here to make it a bit more intense and to just add some variation. I'm just looping the jack part of the vocal in the break.
Jack, 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 jack,
Yeah, that's it for the vocal. As you can see, the second part is not very much changed. Okay, again, I pitched down the voice a little bit, but way less effects, because I felt it was nice to have the voice a bit more clear and clean inside the break. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I forgot to mention is a little bit of a background vinyl crackle, which you barely hear inside the track when the other stuff is going. But I quite like to have the stuff going on in the background. It just adds a little bit more warmth and analog feel to a digital production. Okay, that's it for this track. I hope you enjoyed this and you could take something out of it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. Yeah, so have a nice day. Go back to your own productions and do some good music. Bye bye.